Hey everyone, welcome back to CableCast. My name is Ryor. Today I am joined by two world semi-finalists who are at the forefront of the VGC scene on Twitch.com. One being my very good friend and returning member to the cast is Collin Heier. Say hi.
What's up? I'm Collin. Pleasure to be here.
And joining us for the first time is my favorite and one of the best European players to ever grace the VGC scene. It's Cunha.
Hi guys, what's up? It's a pleasure to be part of the cast now.
Yes, I've been wanting Edu on for a while. I can't think of an excuse why I haven't had you on yet. But it's convenient now. You guys are like two big Twitch streamers in this online like world that I guess the entire world has to live on. But VGC now, especially. So, first off, I do want to talk about. I know I missed having a March episode, but it was because of the first thing we have on our docket to talk about. I just wrote down VGC is dead, but because of COVID-19 canceling everything, we have had our circuit canceled for this year. So, you guys have any initial thoughts, or like we've been stirring on this for like 2 weeks now, but you guys obviously are gonna miss it too, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't unexpected, but like at the moment it was announced, it wasn't really shocking by any means.
Mm-hmm.
The shocking part came before, but yeah, at that point we were sure like things weren't gonna go as smoothly as they could. So
yeah, we had tournaments up till I think early May canceled at first, but then they really just decided, Nats or US Nats, NAIC and Worlds ain't happening this year. So, what was the last official like big tour we had? That was Malmo, right?
Malmo, yeah.
Okay, so that being, I guess, the final really flag put down in the name of VGC 2020. What did you guys think being able to play this format for only, I guess, well, Series 2 or Series 3, that we only had that for what, a month? Not
Series
even, right?
3.
Yeah, Series 3, not even a month.
And then
It was like,
we had like 2 weeks, I think.
yeah, it was like 2
right.
weeks.
Yeah, I always forget because Series 1 wasn't VGC per se. And then Series 2, we had for a bit. Did you guys have, like, preference between those two formats? I know both of you played both pretty extensively.
Personally, I feel like Series 3 might be a little better. Although Venusaur is annoying, I feel like Incineroar solved a few issues we had.
It didn't even completely like eradicate Arcanine usage like people were memeing about initially.
Arcanine still has a very different role from Incineroar.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I honestly kind of like the addition of Incineroar, and I feel like a lot of the problems I have with the format were already there. And if anything, Incineroar helped controlling them a bit.
No, sorry, go on, Collin.
I think for like between the two, like 2 was starting to it started to feel really stale because I know I had one regional at the end of 2, like I played in Collinsville, which was one day before Series 3, and I helped Raghav and Chemo a ton for Australia, and like leading up to Australia, it felt really really hard to build teams and really hard, like everything felt done, and like I know there was actually a lot of teams that came out of Australia that were like kind of interesting, like Eric's team, Edu's team,
Gorgai's
team was pretty clean too.
That was weird.
But like it did feel really, really hard to build, and like we were just going back onto a lot of our crutches that we were using, like Excadrill took a kiss. And then like so Series 3 feels like better, but I don't want to like explicitly say it's better just because we've only had it for a little bit and like it's just a new thing. So like Lapras and Incineroar are really fun, and Venusaur is kind of fun too, but like it ends up like I don't think I have a safe say which one's better, but like I prefer Series 3 because it's just new. So that's like my thought process behind the two of them compared.
That's fair. I was going to say, you don't think, I guess, I know a lot of people were saying Lapras also was going to be like too busted, or some people thought it was just going to be completely irrelevant. Is it I personally think it's nice. Like, it's a solid addition to the format. Without Gmax, it certainly wouldn't have the usage it does now. But do you guys think it's, like, healthy to the game? I know talking about health and Dynamax is, like, a whole nother discussion. But as far as Lapras goes, how do you guys feel about that? Because, here, I'll peek at the usage stats we'll be looking at later. Whoops. Shouldn't have clicked
For me,
that.
like, I've used a lot of Lapras. Like, I used it in the 2 of the online tours. I didn't use it in the 3rd one. And, like, on my stream, I've been spamming Lapras. So, like, I'm tended more to, like, I kind of like the addition because it created this whole new archetype and this really defensive playstyle that, like, trick room focused defensive playstyle, which I love. So I love playing Lapras. But it does feel a little oppressive sometimes. Like, because it is so bulky. You can never one-shot it. You can never deal with it. Like, the only way to deal with it is, like, to sleep it or to try to set up on it. But even while you set up, it's setting up its own screens for 5 turns or 8 turns. So it's like, I think it's a little bit too much. I think it's a little overtuned. Like, it's a little strong. I think maybe cutting the screens down, like the Wildfire or something. I don't know how I'd nerf it. But
Wildfire.
I think, like, making it 3 turns or something might be a little bit more fair. But Lapras does feel a little bit too strong. I thought it was going to be trash, and I'm not even sure why I thought that. But, like, you were talking to me before the format, or before Lapras came out, I was like, I mean, it's screens, it's Lapras, like, it's not going to do anything. But then, like, with weakness policy, with Life Orb, with Light Clay, like...
There's even Decorate from the first, like, big Fevzy team.
Decorate was really cool. So, like, Lapras is... I think it's a little overtuned, but I think it's a fun addition, but, like, I know some people, like, I feel like you either hate or love Lapras, and I think I'm on, like, the love side, but I definitely think it's a little bit too powerful, but I just spam it because it's kind of broken. That's how
I mostly just agree with Collin very much. Like, it doesn't feel nearly as broken as Togekiss, personally.
Yeah.
Because it's not too versatile either. It's just, it does its job really well, but that's the only job it really does have. It's a really good job to have, but it's still not too versatile, and there's not much of a guessing game there. We could change around a few items, and it definitely changes the approach, but it's not as radical of a change as we see with stuff like Togekiss or even Dragapult. But it also feels like a little overbearing sometimes, just a little. Personally, like I was talking with Caleb when we were discussing Lapras a bit earlier when the format wasn't even out, and yeah, it looked like it kind of looked. It looked very interesting. It never really looked broken. I think people overreacted a bit there, but it's just it's a little too much sometimes, but still fine.
Yeah, the early stuff that a lot of people were looking at were, like, Lapras got the toe with, like, Perish options on the team, too. Well, Perish never has been on, like, the forefront of a format. This kind of seemed a little scary at first, but we've seen Gothitelle usage. It spiked up at the end of Series 2, and now it's, like, I can't tell you the last time I fought a Gothitelle, honestly. Like, Dusclops is a little too good in that role now too. So,
well, we did see Gothitelle, it was with Dusclops. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my god, yeah. That was
and that was obviously the
team.
Locomere team, with the Duran. And
yeah, actually, that team it still works now, honestly.
But I feel like that's the only one that we really see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only Goth team that exists anymore.
Yeah, there's no like good Goth Lapras team. That's a little harder there.
No.
Because you want too many of the team slots to work around other matchups. So I'm trying to think. What are the other big G-Maxes? On the last episode, we talked about the G-Maxes that we were getting, but the ones that are actually on the forefront of the meta, Colossal is like really obnoxious. There's the big like Gastrodon, like Corviknight Dragapult team. I've seen a lot in NPA kind of getting spammed.
Oh yeah, it's been spammed in NPA, absolutely.
Yeah,
I've seen it so much, it's insane.
But and I know PokeAlex had a really good run with the Durant version.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels so dumb sometimes because it can cover very well for water moves with Max Flare or a Gastrodon, and you can really hit it because it's so bulky that only like even though it does have two quad weaknesses. One of them is covered by Max Flare or Storm Drain, so you're stuck with a ground move, and if you have Excadrill, that's you're gonna get destroyed by a fire move.
Yep.
And the problem is when they have Heat Wave, because they don't even have to Dynamax, and then you waste your Dynamax. Even if you live a Surf plus Heat Wave plus 2, you're gonna waste your Dynamax on a trade that doesn't seem very good. And you'll be in Surf range the next turn. So like in certain teams get completely shut down, and it force you to make some insane reads. Like I kind of felt forced to make the play I did against Alex in top 4, because of like how hard it is, because it's so bulky. Like it doesn't deal insane damage, but it racks up with a Volcalith, and then it's so bulky they can't like really knock it out unless you have the right mons. It feels very matchup based too, because if you have like a Gastron, it seems so easy to deal with.
I mean, even then, they're running Overgrowth on it, too.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure. But if you have, like, Rindo Berry, you just tank that. You get a boost in special attack because of the Surf, and then you blow it back. So if you have certain Pokemon, it's not that hard to deal with. But
or you can lead, like, your own, like, max weakness policy Tyranitar to kind of, like, bait the Surfs and everything.
Yeah.
I get that. Other one Collin can talk about is the big hat. G-Max hat.
Oh, Hatterene. Oh, man. So I used Hatterene in the Champions Cup, and like at first when when we saw G-Max hat, I was like, oh yeah, it's just optimal. Like you should always use the G-Max. Like it's just an optimal one. But then it ended up being like, because it won the only regional we had in Series 3 2020, and like, I mean, hat. It just feels kind of cheap for the most part. Like Hatterene is just a Pokemon that relies on multipliers. So like. It relies on the Psychic Terrain, it relies on Life Orb, and it relies on like potentially Helping Hand or whatever, like if you're using Indeedee. And so like it just does so much damage with the multipliers, and then the confusion is just like frustrating. Like
icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's just like I think Hat was okay, and it was just like okay, and I don't think the Gmax like makes it better. I think the meta is in a place where the Hat is like stronger, but But the Smite makes it like really, really frustrating to play against, because like you can kill something and then the partner might not even be able to hit you, and then they still have to do enough damage, which can be hard to do because you're Dynamax. So it just compounds on making Hat better. But like, yeah, I don't think it's like too bad. Like there's options you can do. Like when I played Edu in the Champions Cup tour, and he pressed Safeguard, I was like, okay, I don't even have this option now. So like there's just small things you can do, like Safeguard, that went a long way in terms of beating Hat. And I think like you can snarl it and stuff, and like Confusion's not as broken as it used to be, but I think Hat is like, I think it's kind of a cool place where it is, because it's not really strong, but like it's pretty viable and you can build around it and use it. Because like my team wasn't even centered around it. It was like this like explosive option that I had.
It's more viable because it's not overriding the Psychic Terrain anymore to go for those big moves. Yeah.
Not overriding Psychic Terrain, I think, is the huge part. Like, even if the fairy move didn't like confuse and it just like it did nothing, like I think it would still be better.
Yeah, I personally just, the biggest reason why I had Safeguard on Togekiss to begin with was the Hatterene, because it felt so awful to play against. Because like one of the best ways to deal with other G-Maxes is using your own. Because one of the good things of Dynamaxing is that you basically, in a 1v1, Dynamaxing actually reduces the damage trades, because the boost you give to attacks is smaller than the boost you give to HP. So one of the best ways to deal with Dynamax is Dynamaxing yourself to take the hits better. But if you Dynamax and you get confused, there's like a very high chance that you're just wasting your Dynamax. And in a format where making the right trades and using Dynamax better than your opponent is so pivotal, it feels like you're in such a huge disadvantage if you get confused.
Couldn't agree with you there more. Just thinking about those G-Maxes, they're kind of tied to this, but I've noticed a big drop in like G-Max Charizard use. Do you guys like think that's signs of the meta? Even though we have like Venusaur, I guess they're coming up around the bend. They're having to reshape themselves. But what do you guys think of just Charizard in its place in the meta right now?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I feel like I see a lot more in lower tables or early ladder.
Yeah.
I see it a ton, like everywhere. And once you get to the highest level, it's just so inconsistent that I feel like you see it way a lot.
Yeah, and it's not even the fake tier stuff it used to be. It's like the sun spam stuff with Venusaur.
It has a fundamental issue because you can't really lead Zard Vino.
Mm-hmm.
You have to switch something out. You can, but you have to switch something else for sure.
Yeah.
So like it kind of creates this weird position because unless you run regular, not Gmax Zard, in which case you can set up the sun for Venusaur.
You don't want that.
But you don't want that. And I don't know. It feels counterintuitive in that sense, but you still see a lot. Like in Hyper, I feel like Hyper often is where you see it the most. But you know, Collin has more experience using it, so I'll let him say.
Oh yeah, you had that freaking the Assault Vest Charizard team. Oh my goodness.
So in the Victory Road tournament, I used Assault Vest Charizard to beat other Charizards, and on that team it was just like you have to have. I feel like Charizard has fallen off, and like you said, it's like the lower tables or like lower battle spot, but like it's still very relevant. Like it's like tons of people spam it and they use it a lot. I used it in the IC for fun, like just the like the sun spam, and like it's just if you get it, you have to get a bunch of turns right. If you get the reads, you'll win. But if you don't, or if they play a little bit defensively and they like make you explode, you'll explode from the inside because you're just like not doing enough damage fast enough, and they're bulking you down. But I think Charizard's kind of neat still because Wildfire is still broken. I think like when Rob and I were talking about the Assault Vest Charizard team, like we talked about Charizard and we're like Wildfire is still so broken, but I think the sun spam is the wrong way to go with it. I don't think that's good. Like I ran Blaze Assault Vest Charizard. I didn't even have solar power because I was gonna turn off the sun with Ancient Power. So like it was just specifically designed to beat Venusaur Charizard, and like I think that's I don't think I would use that Charizard, like it has a specific niche, but like I still think Charizard, like Wildfire is still good, but the really simplistic way of using the sun spam is like kind of wrong with it, I feel like. Because it just doesn't do enough. Like it's really straightforward, it's really linear. Whereas I think Wildfire is still broken, and like that's part of why Colossal's good, is because of the damage over time. Because you do so much damage. But I think Charizard definitely has fallen off, like, and like a lot of it is just lower table sun stuff, and like I've played it I think in every single online tour, and every time I was able to beat it because like I have a plan for it, and it's kind of easy to plan for the sun, but like you still have to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan you're gonna lose, like because Charizard can still run you over. Like I was playing them, like I think in the Champions Cup I played one pretty high, like further into the tournament, like maybe the 6th or 7th round, and he was XO because I was undefeated until I played Edu. So like I think it might have been the round before Edu that I played a Charizard, and I was like, okay, he's chilling at 5-0, like holy crap, like it's the Charizard stuff. And then like I was prepared for it, so it's like easy for me to beat. But I do think that they run the low tables, and you have to be prepared for it. It's not as good as it once was.
Yeah, it's now like the equivalent of our like not anti-meta, but more of the like rogue hyper offense archetypes. Kind of, but obviously better than where Rain is in the meta right now.
Oh yeah.
That's sad. Poor Rain. Honestly, I might go as far as saying that Rain might be the worst weather in VGC 2020 right now.
I feel like it would have been way better if Politoed was a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. You need Politoed.
I wish. I want to know when Politoed's coming back, because actually, Edu, thank you for that segue. We'll come back to talking about the format in Championships Cup later, but I do want to kind of drill more into the note of the ramifications of what COVID-19 and deleting this circuit, not deleting the circuit, delaying the circuit until next circuit in September. We were potentially going to have the first ever Worlds in which the Worlds was going to be it was going to have a brand new format. It was going to be the first event for a format. And I'm kind of bummed about that. I know people had like mixed opinions on whether or not they wanted that to be a thing. Also, I think Nats was going to have... No, it was at the end of June, so it was so close to being the first event of a format, or like first major of a format. So, what if you guys had Worlds and you had to play in Worlds right now, and it was a brand new format, but all right, you had 2 months to prepare. What are your guys' like immediate thoughts about having no other like majors of this format before Worlds? Because I thought it was cool that we were potentially going to have it.
I personally think it was horrifying. Like I was talking with Raghav and Kimo when we heard about like the news, like that they were going to divide it into separate
Series.
separate series, and that they were going to add the DLC in June. So we were like, oh, the DLC would probably be in time for Worlds. And like Kimo and I were pissed. We were so mad. We were just talking about like we're like, this is gonna ruin, like this is so awful. Like this is gonna be like really hard for us to prep because we'll prepare for nationals, which is a completely different format than Worlds. So like we would spend all that time prepping, and it would kind of it would weaken the payout of all the prep that we do for Nats. Right. And then Worlds would just be its own thing. And like, I mean, ladder would be so important to watch what people are using on ladder to make sure you're prepared for stuff. It would just be, it would be a mess. Like I did not want that, but like, that's like, I'm kind of happy we don't have to deal with that. But like, I like the series. Like, I really like them adding, I didn't think I was going to, but I like, 2 months and then they add 3 Pokemon. That's pretty sick. Like, adding the G-Maxes, like, I think it's okay. It, like, freshens it up enough. Like, I was mad about Ensign at first, but he's honestly really
I'm mad about Ensign just because of why Ensign is legal. I'm okay with Ensign being there, but just the fact that, because it's already coded in the game, and we can't do anything else about it, you can use it, whatever. But, sure, yeah. But I agree.
But, like, I thought it was going to be really scary to play in Worlds, like, especially because it'd be because Worlds and my nationals, or whatever national I go to, which is just US usually, those are the 2 most important events for me. Like, those are the only ones, like, I care about regionals, but, like, these are, like, the ones that I really want to succeed at. Like, more than anything. Like, I have more drive for them. And so, like, having to play a different format that I've like, all the practice I did with Tokyo's Excadrill, like, is instantly not as important, because, like, in Series 3. And then, if you add it, like, for Worlds, all the practice with Tokyo's Excadrill, all the practice with Lapras might be garbage in the DLC format. Who knows?
That's true.
Like, it might be a Volcarona, like, centric time or something. Who knows? We had no clue what it was going to be, so it was, like, it was scary that it was invalidating practice, but, like, Pokemon's still Pokemon. Like, you still get practice, like, regardless. Like, you play the game, but, like, I was not looking forward to it. I was really frustrated with it. I'm kind of glad we don't have to deal with it.
As someone who had to play at a 2-week-old major.
Oh, right, that was
major in a format in a major, yeah.
Berlin, right?
No, it was back then. It was still London.
Oh, right, yeah, London. You're talking about London?
Yeah. That was. I'm talking about 17 London. That was. That was insane.
I think that's even worse because of all the new mechanics. It's like a brand new game in generation.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, it's not as important as World.
Yeah.
So there's like, I'd say it's about the same, maybe not as bad.
Fair enough.
Not as, but it was pretty frustrating. First of all, because you had so little. Like, if something went wrong in your prep, it felt so bad because you have no time to fix it. Like, it's not like you could have done it before because it couldn't. And it was insane. I felt like it was very matchup reliant too. What I did was basically like. I didn't feel very comfortable with a more balanced team that I built. So I was like, you know what? I like a week before I found out rain was a thing, and I'm like, no one else knows rain is a thing, and I know no one else knows rain is a thing. So I just grabbed rain and I swept it through day one without ever having to like think. I just had to leave all the caliber. Just double up what I had to, or just KO something, and then rain boosted attacks were absurd, and all I had to do was pray that people weren't aware and that P2s weren't EV to take the double up. And in day one they weren't, but day two they were, so it was really hard. But it ended up not mattering because I didn't have my Pelipper.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was rough.
Regardless, it would have been really hard because there was a lot of P2 in day two and a lot of EV'd P2. So it would have been pretty tough. But yeah, it definitely felt very matchup based. I kind of obviously like kind of gambled a bit too by going with that option. And it worked out day one. It wouldn't have worked day two. But this we'd have had like 2 months, which is very different than 2 weeks, but no majors. That reminds me a lot of Ultra. Because the meta definitely was very different from Nats to Worlds, because there was such a gap. Like, the gap by itself was kind of enough to make things like we randomly started seeing Rayquaza with psychic type restricted. We saw Rayquaza Lunala, Rayquaza Necrozma popping up in that gap that we definitely did not see before, unless there was it Danny Otaku with Red Eyes. Don't know if you remember that.
I remember that team. I hated that.
Yeah, that was, and then like people saw Reynaldo, and everyone started using. So that was such a difference, and it all developed in ladder. So it would have been probably very similar. But I feel like Worlds needs to be on the same format as the rest of the year, or at least
the previous major. At the very least,
major.
is I think, yeah.
Because like you're assessing throughout the season, whoever are the best players that deserve to be at Worlds, right? Deserves a tough word, but like at least like assessing kind of player quality at that format. And you know, like obviously being able to test people's like ability to adapt is important, and you kind of do that too. But at the same time, like people can just farm one format they're really good at and not care about the rest. And then
on
you
that,
can obviously see, you can obviously see that happening, and then I'm not sure if that ends up like hurting the level of Worlds itself. But in the end, like I feel like the biggest issue would have been the what Collin said, that basically like not having a major to really look into like what's being for the metagame to develop.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It wouldn't like develop in the same way.
I was gonna say on that note, there are people because of I didn't talk about the details of the invite structure, but people with 2020 invites are getting 2021 invites. So on that note, there are people who have 2021 invites from Ultra Series.
There's people who have 2021 day 2s from Ultra Series.
Yeah, if you put it that way, yeah.
Like there's no way no one can catch JoeUX9. Like it's like there's no way he gets caught.
That's a good point.
Like,
yeah.
So like, and all of his CP is exclusively from Ultra. Like I think there was one mid-season from 2021.
No, he has.
Yeah, he had a mid-season.
He had a couple mid-seasons, yeah. But like,
no, he also like he got CP. I think he got CP at Melbourne for like.
Melbourne. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. He did go to Melbourne. That's right. But like, I think
But no cuts.
They should be rewarded. Like CP should be rewarded, but like, I don't know. Like, it depends. Cause like for me, I'm not super worried about getting the invite. Like the bar's pretty low and manageable, and I think I can get it. But like, I know some people, like the CP they earned and the travels they went to, like they want to keep that CP, right? Like they flew to this regional, they got top 32 and they're proud of it. And it was an accomplishment for them. And I think it is an accomplishment. And then they want to keep that CP and they should. But then there's also like for the day 2 race, it's like, it's even worse. Like,
dude, I mean, what about the seniors who are aging up who have like 400,000 CP? I'm joking.
That's gonna be weird.
Like, yeah,
we still don't know like how that's gonna be handled. I really hope the seniors just get to stay in the division for the year.
That's obviously the best fix.
Yeah, but you never know, and it'd be like so insane because honestly, I wouldn't even be like top 5 if the seniors jumped in right now, and I have over 1,000 CP.
Yeah.
It would have been insane. And also like it raises up a lot of issues because we don't know like how well, because you need to mature to get into Masters, right? The players you're facing, you need to adapt to because the level is very different that you're used to facing.
Oh yeah.
There are some seniors that are amazing and they'll adapt no problem, but there are others that have no contact with Masters and will not be able to, and some will even have contact but are not ready yet.
Right.
So I don't know, like maybe like they deserve that much CP, but in Masters they wouldn't have gotten that much CP probably. So I don't know, could have been the other way around. You never know. Like all of it is so hard to assess that it's really like you can't come up with a solution that pleases everyone. So it's a very delicate subject, and it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. What else was I going with that? I didn't want to talk about seniors. Just the fact that they're still 3 age divisions. That's a lot of money going a lot of places. I have too many thoughts on that. I won't go into that rabbit hole. But what were we talking about before that? Right, the amount of prep. Oh, so why I would have kind of liked that for Worlds. Well, because of the fact that there are people with Worlds invites from Ultra Series, I was thinking like, and also just the different series of VGC 20 that we're having to play through. We're going to be playing through. Series 2, 3, and 4, even though 3 and 4 are going to be like almost identical. I just thought that like it would have been cool, like with the amount of, well, even now that there's going to be, it's probably going to be like the biggest Worlds ever, 2021, with the amount of invites they're allowing, and then you can still get one next year. I was thinking like it wouldn't be that bad of a concept to have that many people having to jump in a brand new format that like no one's really proven in, so it's really showing who's showing up, who's the best overall player, just in general. So
I think from a spectator standpoint, it's really, really sick. Like it would be really fun to see. Like I think London 17 was fun for a spectator, but not fun for a player. I felt bad for everyone going, but like I know like some of the teams and seeing the meta so fresh is really cool, but it's not fun for a player. Like it was just awful, and like I'm a player first, a competitor first, and like so like it really sucks to it would have been sucked to interact with that.
I feel like this is another topic, but it's just wanted to say that there's a very big difference between what a player wants and what a spectator wants. I feel like they want the exact opposite. Like
in most cases,
players want to play like worn out games and positional games. Or want to watch explosions. So
be like,
that's something for some other time.
So I was actually thinking about timelines and stuff. So I was thinking about the formats we're now going to be missing, like the series that we're never going to have competitive play for, because it was confirmed we were going to have series 4 and 5 coming up, based off of what we knew and the Pokemon Company International's plans. So essentially series 4 and 5 are only ever going to exist online. Series 4 we're speculating is just going to be the rest of the legal Gmaxes, none of them really being any good. Do you guys think Gengar usage is going to go that much higher because of its Gmax form?
Probably not, but like it has like it can do something now, so it's like a little bit like I think it's just kind of optimal.
It was
like So like if you're gonna like when you use Hatterene, you use Smite. When you use Gengar, I think the trapping mechanic is good enough that it probably overrides special defense or defense drops. So like
I think it's similar to like Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl's never gonna max and use it, but it's still more optimal.
I don't think we'll see Gengar like focus teams. Like trapping's good, but I don't think we'll see the trapping.
And what the rest are Caparaja not being used, Garbodor trash, literally. And then Machamp, if it wasn't the same base power as regular max fighting, I think it would see a use, but I think
the problem is if you Dynamax Machamp, you can't Dynamax Togekiss. And it would have been crazy to pair it up with Togekiss.
Yeah. So actually, this is another perfect segue by my part. Talking about Gmaxes. I forget when this trailer was, but a new. It was at the end of like the mini direct or something. But we got more information about the Isle of Armor DLC coming in June. What we're supposing is going to be our Series 5. Again, like I'm glad that the VGC rules were kind of just jumping on to what the Battle Stadium rules were with the series and everything, because now that we don't actually have a circuit, we still have the format changing. Like, it's just now that Game Freak's actually in charge of that instead, so we'll be able to have that consistently. It'll be curious what the format come September, when, fingers crossed, we'll be able to play in tournaments again. It'll probably just be the, like, whatever Series 5 equivalent is, because I can't see them, like, adding more, like, midway between DLCs, you know, because the second DLC is November. But anyway, so talking about the DLC, we knew that they had Gmax forms, but we got the effects for Rillaboom, Cinderace, and Inteleon. Now, we don't know if or when the hidden abilities for these Pokemon are going to come out. But what were your guys' thoughts? You two are familiar with the effects of these Gmax moves?
Yeah, it's just more damage, right?
Yeah.
It's more damage, and it ignores the abilities.
There's abilities,
Yeah.
So, do you think it's more optimal for all of these Pokemon? Like, I'm kind of split on this, honestly. We need to know how much more power, how much power it is, more than just regular Dynamax form, or even if it's just flavor text. But I don't think so, because it's never been specifically said more damage. So, like...
I feel like for Inteleon, it is objectively better. Because you ignore Storm Drains, Water Absorbs.
Right, but you don't get to boost your next move with the Geyser, with the rain being up.
You're already... if you average it out, you probably do... I mean, it depends how much they boost, of course.
Right.
But if they're by themselves already boosted, maybe we're going to be doing that much damage anyway.
That's true. Plus, the first turn damage is probably more important anyways.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that.
You have to make a kind of a decision, because like before you had to you either snipe shot or you max, and I had a big mind game with that on stream in Oceania, like round 2. I remember the whole mind game. The whole mind game was whether Inteleon goes for snipe shot with fake tears, or if it fakes out and geysers. And with the new G Max move,
there's no mind game. It just is both.
Yeah, there's no mind game.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But for Rillaboom, it depends. If it has the Eden ability,
I don't think it's strictly better.
Yeah. But if it doesn't, it's kind of it depends how much the boost is, and I mean good. You can hit good right now, I guess.
Oh yeah, actually, I didn't think about that. That's probably the only use for it.
Yeah.
I was thinking Cinderace, I guess they showed it hitting Chandelure. Yeah, it's okay, cool. Why am I using a fire move on a Chandelure anyways?
Yeah. So I feel like that's the big difference in Cinderace probably.
Oh, especially if Cinderace has Libero. You're just gonna be using stab whatever moves anyways.
Yeah. So again, depends on the boost, but Inteleon definitely feels better, although they can be an argument. Rillaboom depends if there's a hidden ability, and Cinderace doesn't.
Yeah. Although actually, I'm not an expert on Cinderace's moveset, but with Libero, there might be certain moves that could be optimal or optimized because of the move. You probably have super effective moves against Mimikyu, maybe. I don't know, but it's cool options. All right, other stuff to talk about for what we know or not know for supposed DLC format. Before I get into these Pokemon, I've talked about them on previous casts, just speculative, but you guys are on the Cerebi page too, right? Looking along.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I guess I could just talk about all of them. Yeah, shut up, Colin. Just get to the page. Big ones to note, personally. We already knew this because we don't know what the Galar ones are, but having Slowbro and Slowking back in the format, pretty huge, I think. It's always nice to have bulky waters, but also Trick Room setters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking forward to whatever Cheese Chansey can do in this format.
I think Slowking only comes on the next one, though. Slowbro is on.
No, it's the King's Rock an item though. Yeah, so the Galar Slowking isn't until the next DLC, but it's normal Slowking is the question.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, you'd probably get both. We'd probably get both Slowking and Slowbro, and then in the next DLC,
we'll get the Galarian Slowking.
Yeah, but they might just lock it. I wouldn't be surprised if they locked it, that you couldn't get
maybe,
because maybe Slowking can only evolve into Galarian Slowking if you trade it with King's Rock. So then maybe it would just be locked behind the next DLC anyways. But maybe you could transfer it.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I mean, honestly, the difference between Slowbro and Slowking for our purposes are I've seen both be used. What in VGC's history, what would you guys say is the more influential one? Slowbro or Slowking?
Depends on the meta. If there's more physical attackers, isn't it Slowbro? And if there's more special,
I guess, yeah. So that's just how you generally decide. So
I think we saw Slowking in 16 for obvious reasons. The Kyogre Xerneas, that kind of stuff. Whereas they weren't as afraid of Groudon with Slowking, you know, like that's not the like it's supposed to beat it's supposed to help against Kyogre and Xerneas, I think. But yeah. So I guess that choice was Slowking, but I think it's just so not even a big like it's just so like insignificant when choosing between them.
Right.
In this meta, I feel like the being able to properly wall Conkeldurr would be pretty good with Slowbro, because Slowking probably takes way more from T-Punch.
That's a good point.
Yeah, 110 defense to 110 special defense is a big deal. Like so it actually is a big deal on which one you choose, but yeah.
Other Pokemon. I'm not going to talk about Urshifu because we don't know stats. Do you guys think it's going to be legal though?
I'm not sure about that thing. I kind of feel like it will, but
I just want a legal, good water fighting Pokemon.
That's fair, but I don't know. He kind of looks like a
could be like
legend.
Too slow or something. Yeah, I don't know. Like I remember they said he'd be. Well, the only reason I think this is like when they first revealed the Pokemon, they said it was going to be usable in competition, but like, what the hell does that mean?
He might be just like the Cresselia Zapdos kind of level of legendary. So
well,
like
I was thinking, or even like I know they're Ultra Beasts, but like Poipole and Knockanadel, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, he could be around that level. Got those Pokemon existed.
Fair enough.
The big ones, obviously, we got some water Pokemon coming back. We got Azumarill and Kingdra, Volcarona, Talonflame, and I'll throw in Magnezone. We need some steel types, you know? I was thinking about the steel types that were in this format, or even think about earlier on Collin's stream, actually, twitch.tv/thebattleroom. You were talking about how you don't need, like, a steel type on the team right now. And I was thinking about why. It's because there aren't really, like, defensive steel types in the meta.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I think you want a steel type, but, like, your options are, like, a lot of the times it ends up being Durant, Excadrill, or, I guess, Corv now. Corv's
Corv's the defensive steel type.
I always want a steel type, but I think they're definitely, like, lacking.
Yeah, we don't have, like, Heatran or Metagross in our format yet.
We're seeing a lot of teams succeed without them. Like, Fevzi's team won without it. Edu's team had one. Dimitri's team had one. Pokealex's team had Durant, so everyone but Fevzi had a steel type, but
I think Steel Spike's so good, but as like a Pokemon as a whole, it's like steel types and okay typing. Right
They're
now.
just not real steals anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like Excadrill, I think Excadrill and Corviknight are real steals, but then like Durant is like you're pushing it, and then like and he's forced to max, but then like Drawdon isn't a steel type. They're all just like really weird.
Yeah.
We have a lot of we have 3 different steel types that are 4 times weak to fire, and that's a big portion.
Yeah,
like,
that's steel types that can lose to Togekiss.
Yeah, exactly. Like they get Well, Scotland can actually be EV for to take on Togekiss pretty well. But it's a very specific situation.
That doesn't sound worth.
Yeah, and Scotland by itself is not very worth.
No.
Trust me, I've tried.
I believe it.
But yeah, it's just for example, every special steel type available in the meta right now does not resist fairy. And Magnezone is a special steel type that resists fairy. So that would be interesting. It also
we don't have a lot of electric types either for that fact, like viable electric types.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he actually has a niche. Like I think he's actually kind of cool. Like Magnezone might be useful.
We weren't able to find. I don't know what the split is if each DLC is adding 200 Pokemon, or there's 200 Pokemon that will be released from them separately. Like total, the DLC will add 200 Pokemon. I was pretty sure it was 200 each. So we only know like a fraction of the Pokemon that will be coming back. So I didn't want to harp on this too much, but I guess question to you guys, like, to add to this format to maybe make it better, more balanced, like what existing Pokemon or what types of Pokemon do you think should be or could be added to kind of pad your worries or concerns with the format? Mostly asking Edu because he's the one who worries and is kept up at night about this format.
I know this is kind of like a hot take, but I miss Landers.
Oh no.
Honestly, it's gonna be a bit broken,
Okay.
but it doesn't feel Togekiss broken because they're very different levels of broken.
Yeah.
Because Togekiss is like, it's the desperate broken. It's like the broken where you don't even know what to do, because your
Guess,
checks don't check it,
Okay.
and they check one of the versions but don't check the other.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the difference between beating like Scope Lens offensive Kiss and then
It's
the
like,
Yawn
Scope Lens,
defensive
you-
Chris. Kiss.
Scopelens, for example, you wanna stop it from moving. You wanna reduce the hits they get off because it's very likely that they're gonna blow you back. So you wanna use super effective moves and hit hard, and then you use a super effective move. Turns out it's weakness policy, and
Yep.
you're screwed. So like, and then you waste your time yawning it, thinking it's gonna Dynamax. Turns out it's
It's
faster and
yawning
safe
you.
and it's
too.
yawning you
Yeah.
too. So like, it's tough. And Lender's like, it should be obvious what he does. And here's the thing: it's a fast ground type. We don't have many of those.
What base
like
speed is it? It's
consistent.
91, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Danny, is it 1 or 2? It's 1, right?
Well, I think in base speeds. I should never think in base speeds, but
Yeah. But I also think of base speeds because when I was younger, I would like lists and lists of base stats because I wanted to look into fun Pokemon to work with. Not even VGC or even singles related, just in game. So
Right.
now it's kind of stuck in my mind.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I think it's
91.
91.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's a fairly fast ground type. That's huge. You don't see that many. It's basically locked to Excadrill, and that's huge because you get the move off before the Duraludon moves, unless they tailwind, where in which case they're not using fake tears, which really forces them, and that's something I really miss. But you could just open up in their Pandora box with Landers. You never know.
Right.
It could be a mess because honestly, like Landers can boost every single one stats with max moves. It has access to fighting moves that boost attack, access to steel moves that boost defense, access to poison moves that boost special attack, access to ground moves that boost special defense, and access to flying moves that boost speed. So you can boost every single one of its stats with its move pool.
Honestly, regular Landers might not be horrible too. Like just regular special. Not even Therian.
That's another option.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely that. But I don't know. Again, like it can open, like you mentioned, like weakness policy Landers and something. But I don't know. I always loved using broken to me. It just felt kind of an unhealthy option every time it's not clicking Rock Slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never really a fan of Scarf Rock Slide anyway. So like the way I use it, it felt like healthy and fun. But that's one option. I don't know. I feel like a lot of what's around. Like I wish we had some moves like Lucky Chan. I don't know if I'd use it. Because it feels
Wait,
like so specific.
Is Lucky Chant still in the format or still in the game?
It's not in the game. No,
they took
no,
it out. That's funny.
Yeah.
The one time it probably would see use.
Yes, I mean it's not in the game, but I don't know. Maybe that could help. I don't know. I just feel like there's not much that could, because the fundamental issues that I find with the format cannot be fixed with other Pokemon.
Interesting.
That's fair.
So it is Dynamax. Generally, is the problem.
It's specific Pokemon getting Dynamax.
Right. Okay. Collin, are there Pokemon other than legendaries? Because I realize this now. Edu says Landorus. Landorus is guaranteed not going to be in until November.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the format that's coming out for the first DLC. What's something that could be added?
My choice would have been Heatran, but if
Yeah,
we're not
no
doing
legendaries.
legends.
Stop it.
But like, I think Steel type, like, I think Metagross could be really unhealthy. I actually really think Metagross could be really scary. So I don't think I necessarily really want him. I think I really like Garchomp. I've always been a big Garchomp fan.
Oh, Garchomp's guaranteed second DLC.
Darn. Okay.
Oh, and Metagross was second too, I think.
Oh my gosh. All right. Let me look at Steel types real quick.
Actually, yeah. Let me bring up the second DLC just to.
Man, those are my two.
To confirm, the Nidos aren't going to be there. What is it? Yeah, Metagross, Garchomp. Yeah, and just a bunch of legendaries.
What if they added Melmetal?
No,
Melmetal can
no,
really shake.
no. Shut up. Stop it. Like,
I think
I
that-
get that we want seal types, but not that one.
I think we just need stuff to resist Togekiss. Like that's the thing. Like, because it's definitely the best Pokemon in the game by like a huge margin, and like ways to deal with it would just be so nice. Whatever they
Yeah.
may be.
Just more
But, like,
option. Like, there are ways, but having more that will fit more teams is, like, general
I also
better way
really
of
liked like when Incineroar came out, I actually really appreciated having more Intimidate options because our Intimidate options were really awful. And like I can't really play the game without Intimidate. Like it's always been a huge part of like how I play, and I just
Mhm.
think it's really good.
What Intimidate
So-
mods are we missing?
We're missing the big ones would be Landers, Crocodile, and
Crocodile.
Salamence. Which
Salamence.
I don't know if they would be good. I think Crocodile could be pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like it would suck. It'd be kind of weak to
It kind of be the same as in, like, 2017 Crocodile, almost.
Yeah, it'd be similar.
Yeah.
Like I think Crocodile could be not the worst, but I guess Crocodile's my pick. But I think like just having more Intimidate, like whether or not you use Crocodile, it's nice to have the option to be like, all right, we have Gyarados, Salamence, Crocodile, Incineroar, and Arcanine. Because like I switch between Incineroar and Arcanine in team building, and Raghav does as well. Like because we talk, like obviously he's my main partner,
Yep.
and we talk about a lot about Intimidate because like Raghav and I need Intimidate on a team, like almost to a fault. Chemo doesn't care about Intimidate. He's the Pheromosa guy. Like he's used Pheromosa before. Like he doesn't care about Intimidate. But like so we switch very frequently. Like we're like, oh, is this Arcanine team or Instant? And it's just like back and forth. Which one are we using? And I really kind of like that. Like I know some people hate like having Instant back, or they hate like, oh, they're using the same Pokemon on every team. But like they're just so good at their job.
Yep.
And having a Fire type Intimidate is so nice. And I wish we had options like, because I'm never gonna really use Gyarados. So like I don't know if Silence would even be
Dude,
good.
Gyarados fell down so hard.
That's why I think I would agree too with Edu that I want Landorus back. Like I never feel like he's super broken. Like
Yeah.
I think Landorus is a very fair Pokemon outside of Rock Slide. And like
Yeah.
most of the time, like U-turn, Intimidate, those are good tools to have. Those are skillful expressions that you can use with U-turn, Intimidate, and Earthquake. Like you can get stuff out of it. And like I think he could be Landorus could be really fair. I like Landorus. I think he could be okay. But Dynamax Landorus sounds really horrifying.
Yeah, sounds dumb. Yeah.
I'm gonna get my answer. 1 second. My answer is this guy, Polytoad.
Oh,
yeah.
Save
yeah,
rain.
Polytoad,
Save
yeah.
rain. Oh my
Polytoad could be fun,
goodness.
especially because we're getting Kingdra. I don't know if
Kingdra,
that would
yeah.
anything, but
I don't know what rain needs to come back, but
Polytoad is definitely part of it.
I remember early on, what was that? There's that like 4 water type Togekiss team in like
Oh.
Series 2.
Jellicent, Ludicolo,
Gastrodon,
Oh.
Pelipper, Togekiss.
Galapagos. Yeah.
Yeah, I never lost to it, but like I understood it. Like it tried. But yeah, okay. I guess we don't know enough or like feel enough. We can't fix this format with a DLC. Like but
I think it's just gonna change everything though. Like
it's going to change enough, yeah. And I'm
if
excited.
It has 100 Pokemon, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Empoleon could be cool. Like it
Oh,
takes on
Empoleon.
Kiss fairly well, like super well.
Yeah.
I know it's a thing a little bit in Ultra. I remember playing this stupid Empoleon team for Worlds.
Yeah, and you can like still spike yourself out of like Excadrill range.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use water moves for Exca.
Yeah, and you probably
If
just
you
run Shucka on
Defiant-
it anyways.
Yeah, if you're on Defiant, you kind of wall Dragapult, so it's a way to completely destroy Tad
Ooh.
in one Pokemon. Could be cool.
Cool. So you
Um,
pick your iconic favorite Pokemon, Piplup, right? That's who you want back?
Yes.
Bring back Piplup.
Yeah.
Empoleon's so cool.
Oh, what are the we haven't heard, but do we know if it's the first DLC if Blastoise and Venusaur are getting their Gmaxes? That's gonna be scary, because we already see. Well, Colin's a big fan of Turtok, Blastoise, but we
Oh, Blastoise is gonna be bad. Venusaur could be borderline broken.
yeah, like
I was talking to Chemo about it last night. Like, if it gets swamped, right, it will be able to lead. You'll be able to lead Torkoal, Venusaur, Press, Gmax, Grass, and then Torkoal will be able to outspeed Dragapult with about, I think it was 60 EVs. Like Torkoal. Like you run Modest Torkoal, it can outspeed Dragapult, which means it can outspeed anything. I don't know if like there's counterplay to it, but like
Shoutouts
that
to
thought alone-
dynamic speed mechanics, not
Like,
making that
that sounds-
guaranteed.
that sounds really awful.
Yeah, here's the thing. There's one little fact about the mechanics that could bring us some hope, or the opposite. Because Gmax Wildfire is actually not the regular Sea of Fire.
Yeah.
It's a bit stronger. Because regular Sea of Fire takes 1/8.
So you're gonna say they're making Swamp
Wildfire takes
better?
1/6. But there's no way to make it better. It's already doing like -6 speed essentially. So it's a quarter. What else could it be? So either they don't follow the pattern because there's no pattern anymore because they kind of broke it the moment they made it a 6th because you can't buff Swamp. So maybe like it's a Zard specific, or they're gonna somehow make Swamp better. So it's either
what if they give all of them the same effect as Charizard?
Wildfire? But
no, I think I'd be okay with that.
Like it'd be like poison damage or whatever. Well, it wouldn't be poison because they would want to make it grass and water. Yeah. But who knows?
I'd be okay with that.
But
that would be way better than the Swamp.
Yeah.
I mean, it would also be Blastoise, which like he needs anything he can get.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't think Venusaur was going to be like that big of a Dynamax Pokemon going into Series 3, but you see it Dynamax quite a bit amount of time.
Yeah.
Especially because it has Tectonic I almost said Tectonic Rage, Max Quake, yeah. Ooh. Throwback to Z moves, but
it took me a while to not call them the name of the Z moves.
Yeah, I just want to call it Hydro Vortex, okay?
Yeah, like, Vortex, yeah.
All right. We've delved enough. Well, all right. I'll talk. This is semi-related. So we talked about DLC, but leading up to that, we still have Series 3 and Series 4, but we don't have like majors, like real life majors to advance the meta. So how we've seen, fortunately, you two did. We've been talking about it quite well in the Champions Cup, and you guys have been streaming this game. I wanted, before we go back to Champions Cup and talk more about the teams, well, we talked about teams a bit, but what do you guys think about how this meta is going to develop further up until this DLC drops? Like, do you think because we're stuck at home playing in online tournaments and there's less on the line, it will develop more? Or because there's less on the line and people aren't dying to be number one, they're just going to be more complacent and not advance the meta as much? What do you guys think about that?
I feel like if it was only the weekly or bi-weekly or whatever tournaments, maybe you wouldn't develop as much. Technically, like, there probably is more money on the line. If we look at Champions Cup numbers, that's more than regionals.
But people cared more about prestige than money, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. But what I do feel like is developing things PA. Because you have to like, build every week. Yeah, and I see like a lot of people like trying really hard to like come up with something, and I don't know. I just feel like the fact that you have to like kind of change a team every week, because you don't need to change like every time for a tournament, because you're not preparing for one person specifically. You just want to find consistency, and people knowing your team is not as big of a factor. It's still not nice to like have a public team at a big tournament, and you kind of want to come up with new stuff. But if you didn't reveal anything or people don't really know what he used, you can still use the same teams. And for NBA, I feel like you can't really do that.
I always felt, just from the battles I've watched outside, I guess Snow being number one player doing his own thing, he knows what he's doing, and he's on your team. But just from watching other battles, it always feels like, at least right now, because there's no actual tournaments for NPA to be good practice for, people are just like looking at teams, have like 5 pastes of like successful teams, and they're like, we'll play this one this week. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel about MPA and like advancing the meta. It could be bigger going into playoffs. We have 3 more weeks left in the season. So
yeah, what I do notice is that like we still do see trend. We see like, as we were saying, like a lot of Colossal. Sometimes like just like everyone's using Colossal, and then you also saw a lot of people using the what I call the no ground resist archetype.
Oh, is that the Gavin team?
No, Gavin had Tokus.
Right.
I'm talking about the triple ghost with Dusclops.
Oh yeah.
With Milotic.
Mhm.
I think that archetype is pretty cool because basically the way it works is you have the main core I feel personally is Dragapult, Dusclops, and Milotic. And like everything, like for example, every max move that hits Dusclops super effectively boosts Milotic because it drops either defense or special defense.
Yeah.
So you can bait them a lot, and it's offensive Milotic. So they kind of have that kind of thing. Wait, obviously that archetype came out it was kind of revealed first in February with Irofumi winning the IC. But now you see a lot more of like T-Tar being put on that team, and you still see that trend a lot. You see a lot of people using that. So you still see trends, and that's kind of what I was referring to. You see different people using like different stuff, and you see like a lot of people using it, and then it kind of develops the trend. And that's something that we saw with live events too. So
Okay.
I personally feel like NPA could be a kind of a boost there. I'm not sure about the actual tournaments because I mean everyone I feel like has different commitment.
That's a good point. Actually, you two are a perfect example of that because Collin, like, I can only think of one instance in which you might have used the same team back-to-back tournaments. But Edu, you're more like a archetype-based player in which you've used like the same team throughout an entire season. Now it's a little different now that we have series. You have like four different like iconic Edu teams, as we'll call them. They're called Edu teams.
The fourth just came out, but it's just standard. I was like, the Durant team wasn't working anymore, so I just tested other stuff, and that one felt. I feel like I can claim some of the sets. Like I feel like the Excadrill, for example, not the fact that it's weakness policy, but like the EV spread. I guess I can claim that, but it's very standard, and a lot of people have come up with that, but way before me. It's just like I guess the way it works is kind of like my team, I guess. And I don't know. It's just it feels hard to also build other stuff, and I don't know. Like I'm still trying to like I say it a lot on stream. I try to build new stuff, and I kind of the reason why I don't like this format kind of shows there. It's not that I don't like; it's just not my favorite.
Right.
Because I've been struggling a lot finding new stuff. Because I have very strict conditions for team building.
Yeah, you need a ground resist.
Well,
also the whole thing, like you can't have two of the same type in a lot of your teams. I get that, but yeah.
It should be like a rule in general, though.
That'd be cute, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, just basically, it's been hard. I've been trying double ghost. I've been like stepping out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Now, like, it's not that I don't repeat types. I repeated types a lot. Formats. I just feel like for some reason I'm more strict this format. And maybe that's kind of what I'm struggling with. I shouldn't be as strict. And I've been trying to get out of the comfort zone there. But yeah, like it depends on how much like people also like care about the tournaments. Because I mean, some people are like, okay, I'm investing money, might as well. Other people are just like, I don't know. It also depends on how much the money matters to you. Because like if you're rich and you're just like, I'll just dump $10, it's fine.
It used to matter a lot more to me as an unemployed
like compared
individual.
to regional, this is changed.
Yeah.
For other people, this is like it's a big investment. I had this $10 saved up from work, and I'm gonna use them. So like it depends on like how much you try to get the money back, and then there's also like how much because the prestige is not the same as you were saying. So yeah, it all comes down to that. Some people like try especially hard, so they come up with more stuff, and you see newer teams. Other people don't try as hard and don't succeed as much, so you won't see much development there.
But I also think like it's a weird mix. Like it might be 50-50 because they're the people who are trying less hard, so because of that, they're just messing around with stuff. Yeah.
It's definitely not that simple, but you know.
I don't know why I wanted to go back to Champions Cup. I guess it's because I put that on the docket last, but we kind of talked about everything from that. Were there any, I guess, meta trends or teams going forward that you think are going to dictate the pace of this meta more?
I mean, all right, so I think that like the Edu team was a big breakout for that tournament. Like I think like Excadrill Togekiss coming back, because like my team was really weak to Excadrill Togekiss, and I knew that. And Raghav and I were like talking about it. We're like, what's this team really weak to? And we're like, Excadrill by itself is really obnoxious. And we're like, oh, it's fine. I'm not gonna play it. Like, right? So I go in the tournament, and then my only 2 losses are to Edu and Dimitri, and both were weakness policy Excadrill next to Togekiss, right? And so like, I'm okay with losing to that. Like, it was fine. But I definitely think Excadrill's back, like, because he was really falling
It was
off,
gone
like,
for
really
a bit,
hard.
yeah.
He was gone, and now he's like, I think he's not, like, he's kind of got his own archetype back, and I think the Edu style of team, it's pretty standard, but like, I think it's a lot of it is just like, it makes a lot of sense, and I think that team is like the big one to watch, and then just more Lapras stuff, like, but I think it didn't really push too much forward, like.
There's only 6 Lapras in the top 32 of the Champions Cup.
I think Lapras has such a devoted following and such a, like.
It's true.
An archetype designed around it, like that. The Lapras players will continue trying to make Lapras good. Like, Fevzi didn't use the same team. He made a new Lapras team.
Someone else used his team and got top 8 at that tournament, but
yeah, so,
he
like,
wasn't the one with it.
I think Lapras is definitely, like, it's very centralizing, and it's very, like, it's got his devoted followers. Like, it really does. Like, the Lapras players are Lapras players now. Like, it's definitely a thing, and I think Lapras won't fall off. But I do think that Excadrill and Togekiss are, like, back in the game when they were kicked out for a while, all thanks to Edu. Like, I really do think you and Dimitri, like, both of you getting top 4 with it, like, I think it solidified it as, like, a solid archetype that now is, I have to put respect behind. When before, like, going into the tournament, I didn't respect it, and I was like, if I, like, I'll try to outplay Excadrill if I have to play it, but it is one of my rougher matchups, and I'm totally okay with that. So, like, it caught me off guard that it was, like, that 2 players had it, not even just one. But, like, because I just thought it was really just dead. I really did. Like, especially weakness policy, that made it so much worse.
Oh, yeah, you guys.
I think.
Yeah, the only 2 Excadrill in the top 8 were Dimitri and Edu.
But I think the Edu team, I'm seeing it a lot on ladder, and I'm seeing more Excadrill, more like Sand's kind of, not really Sand, but like, it's coming back a little bit. Like, an Excadrill is definitely something that I think is a big takeaway from the Champions Cup, from my opinion. Especially because I got absolutely throttled by it both times.
What do you think, Edu?
Yeah. Like, definitely saw a rise of like colossal relevancy, because I feel like people were kind of scared to use it after it didn't really succeed before Gmax, and now like people are like, oh, it's got a new tool, but is he really that much better? And people are like kind of scared to really invest on the colossal, but Alex like really succeeded with it, so I think that's a good takeaway too.
Yeah, because you can have a good team outside of the colossal too. Like, it doesn't have to be so contingent on that. And it wins so many matchups for you that it's like, honestly, a solid mode. It's not the cheese stuff that people used to make to beat like the battle tower with like Scarf Wheat File. No, it's like an actual team.
Yeah. But yeah, everything else I completely agree with. Yeah, it's just I feel like weakness policy kind of rise too, because I feel like it's honestly the only solid or consistent Excadrill, because Sash just seems counterintuitive because your stabs are boosting defense, so what's kind of a wasted item. Obviously it's gonna come up, but it feels like you can get something better out of it. In Life Orb, you're taking away HP that you kind of need.
Yeah, again, with the defense boosting.
Like, if you want a solid type, like Excadrill actually becomes a steel type when it has weakness bulk, because he can run bulk. It allows you to run bulk.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you don't do damage. But with SD and weakness policy, you can actually run, like, dump everything in bulk speed, and you don't need attack.
Yeah.
And that's a big part why Excadrill becomes unless you like run bulky AV, but then you don't do damage. I don't know.
No, yeah. That set never made sense to me when it was used early on, anyways. But
didn't you use that?
Yeah, and it could have been literally anything on that team.
Well, I think also like it like it's the perfect blend of offense and defense that you get out of weakness policy Exca. Like, it's just so perfect. Like, because I used it back in my first regional at Dallas. I used weakness policy bulky extra, but like really bulky. Like, it had like barely an attack. And then for Australia, Raghav used Swords Dance Focus Sash. That was a different time, but like again, it's like the Swords Dance just really makes up for Excadrill's like it makes him perfect. Like, it gives him so much damage and so much defense. He's
the +1
unkillable,
calcs
and he's he's destroying you with his attacks. So it's like it's a perfect blend.
I did have a big problem though, which I ended up facing in finals, which was haste ups, because the whole point is setting up and making myself bulky, and so haze is a problem. But it can't be perfect, otherwise it'd be broke.
That's true.
Yep.
Well, we could go on and on about this format, but I think we've exhausted a lot of topics here. Do you guys have any closing remarks or thoughts?
Yeah, well, although I do kind of burn 2020 a lot on Twitter, it's mostly just banter. I don't love the format at all. I am struggling with it a bit, even though I get I get the results. I'm still struggling building with it mostly. That's my issue. It's not a terrible format. I'm just in kind of a love-hate relationship with it.
I get that,
but it has potential. It's just the token, messes.
Yeah.
Tokens, I hate tokens.
Yeah, that's
so,
fair.
Something I say a lot is that take items away when you Dynamax. I think they might fix it. Everything that feels broken is because of items. Durant misses every KO without Life Orb. Togekiss doesn't crit without Scope Lens. Dragapult doesn't become stupid. Weakness policy memes are gone.
Yeah.
And that's so
we have 3 more years of that, Edu.
Yeah, I mean, just take away the items. Do it like the choice items. You did a great job with the choice item. Do it with the rest. But
yeah, I agree. How about you, Collin? Any closing remarks?
I think it's I like 2020. I think it's fun. Obviously, I'm kind of glad, not glad, but happy we don't have Worlds because I don't want to play a 1-month-old format.
Yeah.
But it's sad that we don't get to play and compete and see all of our friends, because that's one of the best parts is just competing and
I had to cancel 5 trips this year.
The online tournaments are fun and they feel good when you do well, and they're fun to play in, from the comfort of your own home. It's a good time, but it's also you miss out on that social aspect, and you miss out on everyone caring, and everyone who flew to that regional wants to win that regional just as bad as you do. Maybe not just as bad, but they want to win. And it feels sometimes the online tournaments are just oh, I think I'm a good player, I'll just cheese it and just use a standard team and see how I do. So it just ends up
wow, way to call me out, Collin.
But, I mean, I try really hard for the online tournaments. We had 3 different teams. I'm talking to Raghav and Kimo all the time. We're trying to make new stuff. But yeah, it's it feels bad that we don't have these real life tournaments, because I think 2020, I think Dynamax is really broken. I like the idea of no items, but my idea is also the double health, make it 1.5. I think that would help a lot.
Yeah.
And
ban Dynamax Candy.
It's a little bit too overtuned, and I don't think it's as bad as some of the other mechanics, but it is a dumb mechanic again. I'd rather just play Pokemon 2012, 2013. That's why everyone thinks they're so good, is because there wasn't as many there was no Megas, there were no Z moves.
No marketing schemes. Pure Pokemon.
But I think the format's okay, and I'm kind of sad that we do lose it, because I have put a lot of practice into it, and I enjoy it. I stream, part of the reason I stream is to get better at the format and practice, and it kind of holds me accountable. So I'm kind of sad that my streaming is for nothing, kind of, but I mean, I'm still winning. I won the Zelda tournament, so I won some money. I've gotten money. I've top cut each online tournament, so it's still a fun time, but it does feel bad that I feel really bad for a lot of the players. I know specifically Zach Carlson, he was so upset about season 3 because he put so much practice into season 2, and I remember seeing the tweet and I thought about it and I was I never really think about it that way, but it's so true. Some of these people put so much time into this format, and it's so sad that there's nothing we can do. We do have to close these tournaments. That's facts.
Stay home.
We need to stay home, but it also is just really sad. For the people who did put a ton of work or had these cool ideas ready for these season 3 tournaments that we never got to see. I would have loved to see the storylines too of seeing how Fevzi does. This dude is so dominant right now. He's so good. I would have loved to see him at a national. That would have been so sick.
Yeah.
And even watching my friends compete, Raghav, Chemo, Raghav was starting to look real good. He was starting to look fire. I was confident in him. And so it's really sad that we don't have the format, but hopefully we're back next year. I'm excited to compete again. Yeah.
We'll get there together. Hopefully more online tournaments soon. They're coming up every weekend. We had the international challenge that was whatever last weekend, but they're around. If you need to find them, you'll find them. So
yeah, and one of the best ways to keep VGC alive is by
supporting. Yep. For sure. Support your, not the locals, but your online TOs, everyone.
Yes.
All right. So that's been it from us. where can the people find you, guys? If it isn't obvious, I mean, I have the Twitters below, but plug your Twitch streams, guys.
On twitch.tv/thebattleroom. I stream every day 1 to 4 Central. So, or every weekday, not the weekends, but yeah.
Unless Beast Coast is streaming, then you stream an hour early.
Beast Coast is streaming. I stream 2 hours early. Yeah.
Well, you can find me at twitch.tv/EmbcPT and on YouTube at EmbC. I don't stream daily, but I usually stream about 3 days a week, so you can find me there. I still don't have a very regular schedule, but I've been uploading about every day. There's that.
Collin can't say that, so you got that on him.
Rough. My YouTube's a little rough.
The balance between YouTube and Twitch, it's hard. Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You guys got
I gave
this.
up a little on Twitch. I gave up a little on Twitch for YouTube.
And Collin, other side. That's cool. All right, content. Well, thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.
Thanks for having.
No problem.
Hey
Bye.
guys, it was a pleasure.